In 2024, there are a few popular and exciting space games. Starfield and No Man's Sky are two games that come to mind when thinking of an open world, or rather open space, environment. These games are very immersed and there are a ton of things to do. Starflight, a space exploration, combat, and trading role-playing video game created by Binary Systems and published by Electronic Arts in 1986. Here, the player takes the role of the starship captain where he mines and trades minerals for cash with his trusted crew at his side. The goal is mining, exploration, and solving the mystery of why stars in the region are flaring dangerously. The story has a lot of depth and has the player wondering what will happen next. Well, set a course for the next star system and let's find out. Originally released for the IBM PC in 1986, it has been ported to other consoles such as the Amiga, the Commodore 64, Atari ST, and Macintosh computer. In this video, I'll be showcasing the Sega Genesis version, as this was the one I was introduced to in 1993. I rented this from my local Blockbuster Video, and because the game was so immense, I couldn't get a great experience in one weekend. Luckily, we found a copy for sale at our local video game store, and I was able to really get into this one. The game came with an oddball cartridge from Electronic Arts. And while we're on that topic, what the hell was that yellow tab cover thing for? It has the EA logo etched into the plastic, but never covered any dip switches or socket plugs. It was just there. I can't see a reason for it. It turns out, it was just a way of making EA carts stand out from other Genesis cartridges because of reverse engineering of the Sega Genesis, and a special licensing agreement. That's it. So the game was a strange shape, and it was an 8 meg with battery backup. I'll talk about those 8 meg cartridges in a future video. A super thick user manual and a star map. Mine is beat up after years of plotting courses and charting nebula. Anyways, the process was simple. Read the starport notices and take note of anything interesting. Get a crew and assign them to their roles and departments. Next, go to the starship docking bay and set a name for your starship, and then get some supplies, like some cargo pods. Don't forget the ATV, you will need hardware for that too. After you equip your ship, you can make way for the trade depot and pick up a couple of artifacts. These will come in handy for later. Leave the spaceport and you'll end up in orbit around the space station. The interface shows your status indicators and the solar system at the top right of the screen. It currently shows that I'm in orbit around the second planet, which is the space station. Press A and leave orbit. Now, press up to fire the engine and make your way around the solar system. You don't use fuel while in a star system, but once you leave, you are now in hyperspace, and you can now travel to nearby star systems. Once you're out in hyperspace, you will start to use fuel, and depending on what class of engine you have, you could go through your initial 20 units of Endurium fairly quickly. Now here's where the action is. You can encounter other races that are either friendly or hostile. You can enter fluxes and end up next door, or on the other side of the galaxy. Enter another star system and explore strange new worlds and mine for mineral that can fetch a nice chunk of change at the trade depot. Once you enter a solar system, fly to any planet that tickles your fancy and begin the process of mining. You want to establish an orbit first and then have the navigator land, choose your landing site, and then make a landing. As you land, make sure you alter your thrusters so you don't crash land on the planet and damage your ship and injure your crew. Mining on a planet is quite cumbersome, especially if you're just starting out. When scanning, there aren't a lot of mineral deposits, so filling the cargo pods will take some time. Once full, head back to port and trade for some quick cash. I highly recommend you work your way towards buying the Mineral Scanner 2 on the ATV. You will see a world of difference in your scans and fill the cargo pods much faster. This is a space-based role-playing game. You will encounter different species that can potentially give you information on where to go next. The notices at Starport will get you started. A pad and paper are key tools when playing this game, as you'll be writing a lot of information down. There are several important artifacts for you to find throughout the galaxy, along with information about the ancients and what has become of them. Make your way through the fluxes and fend off trigger-happy locals to find those ruins on a planet that is suitable for colonization. Log the planet and collect the 30K spaceport. I'm sure that most of you have played this game or at least have heard of it. I don't want to spoil the game by revealing any major plot points, but if you don't have the patience to play this 35-year-old title, then there are a few other videos online showing the full gameplay. Now, the instruction manual is loaded with information on playing the game. There is also a story near the end of the book. As it turns out, a ship from the future was found with no crew aboard. The ship design is still in the final stages at Interstell's Research and Development branch, and there is also a captain's log that you can use to follow in the footsteps of the previous commander. This is a start-to-finish path of completing the game. You can use this guide or play the game without it and explore the universe. The captain's log plays out the story and it shows where to go next along with the locations of quite a few wormholes. The attention to detail is absolutely amazing. While playing, I found that I was yelled at if I tried to land the ship on a star, but it was totally cool if I tried to land a planet on a gas giant with 22 Gs of gravity. The computer gives me a warning that landing on this planet will crush the ship's hull. So I press A to confirm, and then I have full thrusters on, but I cannot escape. I slowly make my descent until I either touch down or run out of fuel. Then I explode and the game is over. I reload the save file and swear and cuss that I forgot to save my progress just before making the landing attempt. Training your crew is also important. If you don't spend any money on training, you'll have a difficult time out in space. Your science officer cannot scan planets or ships and can't analyze any data after the scan. Your navigator will not be able to see fluxes and will end up somewhere else in the galaxy that you didn't intend to. Your communications officer will not be able to communicate with other species and the message will be garbled messes of letters and numbers. If the ship is taking damage, your engineer cannot repair the ship in a timely manner. And finally, your doctor will not be able to heal or treat injuries quickly. So spend that extra money on training, it'll be well worth it. There are 9 alien races in this game. Each one has a unique personality and culture. There are some that will just bow at your feet, and there's others that think they're a higher form of life and will attack you if you defy them. There are androids who have one purpose, and if you attempt to circumvent that purpose, they will attack you. And then there's a race who will just not talk. They will open fire and just take you out for looking in their general direction. Overall, the visuals are stunning, the soundtrack is decent, and the level of gameplay is extensive. All of this is stuffed into an 8 meg cartridge on the Sega Genesis in glorious 16 bits. I can't express how impressive this game was. It was the first time I piloted a starship and explored a galaxy. At the time, it was massive. There were 270 star systems to explore, and I think I visited about 50 of them. There are 9 races to meet, and each one has their own interesting personalities to contend with. Every time you entered a flux, you were nervous about what was waiting for you on the other side. A hostile encounter, or the Cross constellation with 6 star systems and about 40 planets to explore. There was a sequel released in 1989 for DOS, Starflight 2, Trade Routes of the Cloud Nebula. Gameplay reviews were mixed, but it still won Game of the Year in Computer Gaming World in September of 1990. There was a Starflight 3, and it went through an unsuccessful crowdfunding campaign in 2018. So it never saw the light of day. Maybe it did. I don't know. I never saw it before. This is by far one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis. My father logged hundreds of hours of gameplay in the 1990s. He mined so many minerals that his money balance couldn't display $10 million and just displayed the letter A in place of 10. He essentially had H million dollars in his account. On the screen is an example of what my account balance is, A million dollars. So with my father, that was a lot of exploring and tapping the A button. That's probably why he had 2 spare Genesis controllers stored away in a drawer. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this adventure in space. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.